Good afternoon and hello, everyone. Welcome. I am 329th in line, and we have an awesome route rando race for you today here at the Super Metroid Item Randomizer League. Today's match is going to be against Dark BiZalmon's versus the Vileplumes. We see Bressingham is going to be top left and Bizin bottom left for the BiZalmon's. Looks like Zeb316 and Canadian Owl representing the Vileplumes. Excited to play an awesome mode that I don't get to see too often, but I have a good feeling that it's going to be an awesome race, and there's going to be some close calls coming around. If you're new to the route randomizer, essentially what's going to happen is there is one linear path that is completable from beginning to end, and that's always going to be indicated by the blue door. Some of the doors might be locked, and then other doors can be pink, which are missile doors, and that's going to lead to an item specifically. Might not be fully required, but limited items tend to show up in things like this, so imagine our runners will be prioritizing at least the early ones. And I believe the way that this is scored here is it's going to be the average of both times for the team. And it looks like our runners are underway. I see the timers going. So we're going to get a look here at how this shapes up. And we actually see Bressingham doing some exploration to see where what items might be available. So there is a pink door on the other side of that, but it looks like following through, Zeb316 is showing us a straight route here connecting blue doors. Now there are some modifications made to this. As you can see right there on Bressingham's side, the gauntlet path is pre-opened, as that door can be accessible from the beginning. Does not require bombs. And in this version of the game, Morph Ball will always be vanilla, as well as the missiles down here in the room to the right. I'm sorry, down this room, to the left. And then the pink door up there is going to be the bomb Torizo fight, which is guaranteed bombs. So that's going to be our first kind of collection of items here that everybody's seeking out to get the run started. And we see Zeb316 being the first of our runners to make that bomb Torizo appearance. But the other three are following pretty close behind. Again, having to put together that blue door routing, connecting where the blue doors are going to lead you. And then after we're all loaded up here with these early game items, we're going to get to see how our runners choose to take that information, where they go with it. A nice clean bomb Torizo fight. It's always nice to have missiles in this fight, since you don't normally have them in the vanilla game. And then along with those early guaranteed items, this is Charge Beam every time right here. If you see that on Zeb316's screen. And after that, we're on our own. Try to piece this puzzle together of where the game wants us to head. I should also mention that save rooms are always vanilla, and they're always locked by blue doors, except for the save room right before the Mother Brain Torian fight. That is a missile door. And with that explosion there on Bressingham's side, that's Bomb Torizo down for all four runners. Zeb316 grabbing the early room lead here. Managing to give us a look at Meridia, but just grabbed some missiles down there and is gonna head back around. Wants to take a look at what this room was up here in the croc room. Trying to follow 4 runners. It's going to take me a minute to get my bearings. I didn't see if this was a pink door or not. Okay, it was. So good choice to come back for, especially early on. We don't have anything really. Remember, pink doors are going to lead to items specifically. I will make a hasty correction then. I was under the impression that the blue doors were the path and pink doors were the item layout, at least from the tutorial that I watched from Wild Anaconda. So this mode is different from what I was prepared to do. Okay, thank you, Tracy. Tracy clearing that up in the chat. Appreciate that. Well, this is what I get for being away all week. Well, chat, I take back everything I said when I started, except for the fact that charge beam, bombs, and morph ball had to be where they were. I'll stick by that. But we do see Zeb picking up the Spazer beam. That's certainly nice, especially early on. Going to help with the damage output a little bit. We got to look at Gauntlet already from Zeb as Canadian Al is up there. It's just going to be 2 missile tanks, but again, not bad starting out. Sometimes it's nice to have a little extra ammo. Canadian Al showing just that. Does not mind picking up some ammo. Well, chat, it's even nicer when the commentator knows the rules. So we've seen some exploration here. So far, nothing really jumping out of note that's going to be super helpful, but Bressingham's going all the way back to the landing site here and is going to get a look probably over at that far right door. We do know that Bressingham, as far as I know, is the only runner who saw that was an pink door, but again, I have to keep correcting myself. That does not mean that it's an item. But there we go. Canadian Al grabbing Wave Beam. That's a nice damage upgrade. And before heading all the way right, Bressingham is going to give us a look here at the Criteria Power Bombs, but that is a locked door. So we found some fun beams to play with. We got Spazer, we've got Wave Beam, but nothing else really of note so far. Although Bizon is kind of roaming around Meridia here. A little tough without grapple or spring ball, but is managing just fine. Bressingham hitting the dead end there, but is going to be going up. Can't glitch through that gate up there, though, so he's going to have to turn around. Would have been nice to have Wave Beam for Bressingham. We know it's available. We saw Canadian Al pick it up a little bit ago. Ooh, and Bizen taking a death there. I'm not sure if that was intentional to reset somewhere, although I haven't seen... Okay, so we did get a save, though. So fortunate for Bizen there. And Zeb316 grabbing that wave beam as well. So both Vileplumes have the wave beam. And we've got Spazer 1 apiece on each side here. Thank you for that pronunciation correction there. I will be sure to refer to Bison. Yeah, and right now it's I appreciate that, chat. Thank you. Right now we're just kind of looking for where the big progression is going to be that's going to kind of open up the chase here right now. Other than wave beam, I really haven't found anything too important. And with any kind of route randomization like this, it's tough to just even keep track of where everything was connected. Now, Canadian Al putting some puzzle pieces together and taking the wave gate up there. And is going to be the first of our runners to progress through that. I believe it was Bressingham that was up there already in the Meridia kind of entrancey kind of thing right there where you come, the back way out of Meridia. Was able to get up there, but got stuck by the wave gate. Canadian Al making the way up there, able to use that to progress through. So we'll see. It looks like Canadian Al is going to be the first one to show us kind of more of the path and how it's connecting here. Yeah, so the runners who have wave beam other than Canadian Al, so Bison and Zeb316, neither of them have been up towards that wave gate. And Bressingham, who was locked out by the wave gate, is the only runner still looking for wave beam. So I hope to see Bressingham turn that up soon. Meanwhile, Vileplumes Canadian Al is making some progress here in the wrecked ship. Oh, here we go. That is a spore spawn fight on Canadian Al's side, the ultimate DLC boss here. So far, it looks like this is the route to follow. So we won't only see Spore Spawn on Canadian outside, but we should be seeing Spore Spawn make an appearance for all our runners today as they progress forward. And Zeb316 doing the same thing, putting that wave gate puzzle together. You know, chat, I'd argue Spore Spawn always feels bad. Yeah, Spore Spawn with no super missiles is not fun. And after I think was about 4 cycles there. Canadian Owl managing to add a little bit of grayscale to the room here. Uprooting the evil spore spawn and moving forward. So be interesting to see how long it takes the other runners to make their debut with spore spawn. But I see Zeb following pretty close behind, probably about 4 rooms, maybe 5 rooms behind. Yeah, chat, I will agree there. A 4-round spore spawn is a good fight, especially with just missiles. 4-round spore spawn with anything is a good fight. Unfortunately for routing, it seems like the Vileplumes have been able to piece this together a little more smoothly, at least in the early game. We'll see how things continue to pan out. I will say, though, that Bressingham has good information. After picking up that wave beam, is very aware of, probably the most likely play, which is following through on that Meridia Wavegate entrance. And with a nice wave charge shot, Zeb 316 taking down the giant spore spawn. So right now, Canadian Owl is kind of the furthest ahead to read pieces of this route, putting it together. But both Bison and Bressingham have Wavebeam in hand and are going to be heading over to that Meridia Gate and start piecing this together again right away. Do you want to take a moment once again to... anybody who was in the chat earlier, I do apologize. I thought this was linear route rando when I read some of those rules off. So, yeah, if any of that confused you, please forgive me. That was an oversight on my end. But we're back on track now, so everything should be good. And the BiZalmon's do just that. They piece together the wave gate, and we're heading on. Going to see spore spawn on both the left sides pretty soon here. So for all the spore spawn troubles there, Canadian Owl and Zeb316 pick up the grapple beam. And looks like they're going to be taking that back through where they came from. So we'll see what their plans are to use that. I might have missed a place where that could have been helpful. So many screens to keep track of right now. And we've got almost simultaneous spore spawn duels here. The Dark BiZalmon's high-fiving here on this spore spawn fight. You can see just how tough this fight can be on just missiles here. And charge wave, not too bad as far as having some options, but really it's just one of those fights you have to wait out. And in a race where every second matters, it is a frustrating ordeal, that's for sure. To answer a question in chat there, this is Route Rando. I'd make an effort to explain the rule set, but I fear that I will once again butcher it, so instead I'll just continue to commentate on the action in front of us. As both Dark BiZalmon's have reached the heavy metal breakdown mosh pit of Spore Spawn here. Should be just a few seconds away from ending the fight on both sides there, as we actually see Bison wrapping it up and Bressingham doing the same. So the Vileplumes have already been up this way, went through the route after Spore Spawn, picked up the grapple beam and power bombs. I missed the power bomb somewhere earlier, but yeah, I'm seeing that piece together now. So Dark BiZalmon's are gonna have to play a little bit of catch up, but they should be picking up power bombs as well as the grapple hook here. So power bombs was the bigger find, I will say. Doesn't mean grappling beam. Tongue-tied. Well, you don't do commentary for a week and you just fall apart completely, huh? Doesn't mean that the grapple beam won't be useful for the Vileplumes, but I definitely would have to say those power bombs are much more of a progressive pickup here. It's going to be opening up a lot more of the game for them. I'm actually interested to see where the power bombs turn up. I missed the pickup on both Zeb and Canadian outside. And that's a good point to a comment there in chat, Tracy. The grapple beam definitely can be required, but I would agree with you. Yeah, I think the power bombs are just opening up, giving us more availability here. And there's where those power bombs were. Okay. Yeah, I think PBs are always logically required. Well, talking about big finds here. Canadian out is going to grab high jump boots there up in the little crate entrance missile tank there. That is a nice find for sure. I think some of the more frustrating part about this is you're piecing it together kind of as it's happening. Different from a regular randomizer where you kind of know the logic as you find items. In this case, you're kind of discovering the path along with your options and opportunities as items make their appearances. So picking up high jump is definitely going to help give us a little more exploration here. And our runners were already in this room earlier. I know I saw Bison in here where we see Zeb 316, but armed with the grapple beam now, we're able to make a little more progress here. So depending on how long this string goes that we see Zeb 316 and Canadian out following, that could be a hard required grapple beam. It's always nice to do wave gate when you have wave beam to avoid that nasty wave gate glitch. Yeah, I think the worst part about this is as you pick up an item and you think, oh, now I got to go all the way back there to use this, just like we had with the wave beam to get through that wave gate in Meridia. And now we're seeing some pretty good linear progression here from Canadian Owl following, and Zeb behind as well, following that grapple beam in the ceiling, breaking that block, which normally leads to Shack Tool. But in this case, seems to be the progression we were looking for. This is like backtracking the game. And I believe that's the first hot room that we've seen. I may have missed one earlier, but Canadian Owl showing us that there's going to be some heat runs here. And doing a nice job to wall jump. Grabbing a very nicely timed energy tank there. Kind of reverse up the crumble mountain there, and grabbing that E-tank was definitely a blessing there, because Canadian Owl certainly had enough energy to make it through the room, but just kind of solidified that for you. And as chat pointing out, hell runs are not required in this mode. Oh, and that's how you know. That's how you know that Canadian Owl is a little ahead of the logic there, because Zeb316 just picked up the Various suit, which is going to give him that protection for Crumble Mountain that we just saw Canadian Owl walk through. I can't even imagine how the runners are remembering where all this stuff is connected. I can't even remember where it's all connected, and I'm the advantage of seeing it over and over and over again. Yeah, Al is definitely going to be heading back. Doesn't know what this is yet, but I'm sure can piece together at this point that it should be the Various suit to get through this logically. So I think it was interesting. We saw Canadian Owl make it through that first heated room, but then kind of pause, rethink, and back up. So you have a feeling that the rooms are only going to get hotter as we move forward. Yeah, this is co-op. So I don't want to stake my commentator career on this, but I would imagine, I see chat kind of confirming my suspicions, that the teams are allowed to communicate with each other. Yeah, there's some hype there. Dark BiZalmon's with an in-sync bomb jump there. Bison happy to grab the missile tank. Bressingham has enough missiles, at least as far as Bressingham's concerned. But our Dark BiZalmon's are going to be simultaneously picking up high jump boots. Very important. And another very important find, as we see Zeb316 grabbing our first super missile pack. And you see a little bit of that backtracking I was talking about right here, as the dark BiZalmon's have now followed the logic all the way back around after picking up the grapple beam. And yeah, it's going to be a hard require for grapple beam. So if you're keeping track anywhere right now, it's a +1 so far for grapple. Yeah, Canadian Owl going back after getting some good advice to grab that various suit, and you can see competition's heating up, right? Because these rooms are just going to keep getting hotter with that various suit in logic. Could say the seed turned the heat up on them. Ooh, I'll boo my own joke. How's that? You're right, chat. That pun was not cool. It was hot. Sorry for that, too. Well, I'll stop with the jokes here, and we'll just get back to the rando action, so to say. So our plasma beam room just turned out to be a power bomb expansion. Not an awful thing to find when you only have 5 PBs right now, but definitely not what our runners were hoping to see. And the problem is with a room like Red Tower there, you have so many options and different ways to go about it. But after grabbing those super missiles down there from I believe that was at Alpha Power Bombs where the super missiles were, Canadian Owl takes the super missile door down bottom left of Red Tower and has given us our first look at the gauntlet hallway here. Ooh, and we do see a death on Bison's side. I'm not sure when the last time Bison saved, but it was definitely pre-power bomb and pre-grapple. So it's going to be a little bit of a setback for Bison's side. Remember, with this co-op race, it is an average of the 2 finish times. So Bressingham still probably wants to press on and can get some good information to help give Bison a good route as Bison's catching up after that death. But Bressingham is making good progress to try to narrow the gap here. Bressingham doing a nice job of picking up various suit as well before making any hot room appearances. Yes, Canadian Owl getting a little low there on health. Doesn't have anything in the reserve either, so please be careful, Owl. Again, at a room like this where there's so many options, so you've got, 5 or 6 doors to check and then make a decision on where you want to head to. And hey, Canadian Owl has found the baby cutscene. And after following the baby cutscene room out, gets another connector to the ship as well. So we have some nice ways to kind of connect our map a little bit, and And we see BiZalmon's giving us another look after taking that death. Always happy to see Spore Spawn get to make a couple of appearances, right? Yeah, that landing site find was absolutely a gift, being down to 1 energy. It looks like Zeb is chipping away a little more at the seed here, showing us some lower Norfair action. This room not fun without screw attack or a speed booster here, having to power bomb every couple of columns there to keep moving forward. Hey, but more super missiles in the Mickey Mouse room is not bad. As we start approaching, further and further into the seed, we have to start thinking about ammo and damage output that we can do on a mother brain fight. So more missiles and more supers are a welcome surprise. But Zeb 316, stay safe. Only down to 30 health there, has already emptied the reserves. Does get the door to unlock, though, is going to proceed. So hopefully to a room where... Oh, not a room you want to be in with 35 health, no ice beam. Zeb is maneuvering. Oh, gets the Metroid kill just in time, picking up some energy there, but is still under a tank here. A big sigh of relief there for Zeb 316 and any Vileplume supporters out there. Oh, but unfortunately, Zeb 316, after some heroic feats to fight through Metroid on low health, does take a death there. Did just save at the ship, though, and is going to be able to make progress, getting right back to those rooms. And in the midst of all the action, I've completely missed at how we connect here. Canadian Owl has found Kraid. Does Kraid rise to power here? Yes, indeed. We see Kraid rise to power on Canadian Owl's side. I have no idea how we came across Kraid, though. I missed the route we got there for. Yep, and I wanted to say it, but I was afraid to be wrong after my little faux pas of explaining the rules earlier. Yes, in the route rando, the door to the right of Kraid is removed. So when you appear in Kraid's room, you just have to do the fight to exit. So it also does unlock that door to the left, though. I shouldn't say to the left. It might just unlock one of the doors in that other room right before Kraid. So nevertheless, Kraid is down, defeated. And Canadian Owl is going to be showing us a little bit more here. Thank you, chat, for piecing together a little bit of how we ended up there in a toe-to-toe battle. Oh, wait. We'll see. I'm trying to give chat a chance to update me as I'm trying to make sure that I'm saying the right things. Yes, and we're confirming. So it just unlocks whatever room. You didn't come in when you reached that room right before Kraid, and that's kind of the access. So Kraid required there to move on and keep making progression here. And there I see Zeb 316 piecing it together. That's where Kraid is. And a chance for Zeb to grab a quick kill here on Kraid. Let's see. Zeb was burning on all cylinders there earlier, but took a death, had to back up, and Canadian Al surpassed in the Vileplumes race here. I'm sure Zeb doesn't mind letting Canadian Al run ahead and get some all valuable information, if nothing else, right? Missile tank in the ceiling for Canadian Al there, right before the speed booster room. And we've got the Ripper Green Gate room from Lower Norfair making an appearance here. And Zeb with a nice Kraid kill. I didn't see Kraid stand up, but it was over quick enough that I'll believe that Zeb got the quick kill there. So very nicely done. And if I speak out of turn, I apologize. If nothing else, it was still a quick fight, though. Keeping me honest. Thank you. Big thank you to our tracker, WinFox470. Yes, I can believe in my heart that Zeb got the quick kill. Well, chat. Zeb was in and out of there so fast I didn't even notice, but our Dark BiZalmon's will have a chance to give us a Kraid quick kill on their side as well. And speaking of bosses, get a look here. Dragon making an appearance. We do have the grapple beam, though, so it's going to at least give us a chance to fry the fish here. It does take a chunk of energy, though. We're not super full, but should be enough to bring Dragon down. Yeah, still a tank and a half or so. So Canadian Al has made short work of two bosses now, Kraid and Dragon down for Canadian Al. And our first boss appearance on Dark BiZalmon's side, as Bressingham is going to go toe-to-toe with Kraid. See if we can get our first quick kill of the night. All right, chat, I don't need to be corrected on this one. Bressingham does nail that quick kill. And Canadian Al is on a mad boss rush here, as stumbling upon Fantoon as well. Zeb316 getting some good information after having to let teammate Canadian Al pass when Zeb took a death, but is in communication with Canadian Al, and sure is happy to know that it's quick bosses in succession here. Al using some nice strats to rock the Fantoon fight. Gets a little close, was down to a tank, does have some reserves. I'm not sure. I think I've seen 2 reserves so far, if somebody wants to correct me. But was able to grab the kill on Fantoon. That is not easy. And I'm sorry, does Zeb have Ice Beam? Yes. There was an Ice Beam somewhere. I know I missed it. Yeah, I believe those rooms were connected. The Dragon room led directly to the Fantoon fight. And while Zeb316 has stumbled upon the Ice Beam, which we're still going to be wondering where that showed up, is definitely going to be using a different beam to take down Dragon here, as the grapple beam is a nice way to get a quick kill here, although pretty low on energy. Again, I'm not sure what the actual damage output is of this. And gets pulled a little far away from the electricity there. And we see a hard reset there on Bressingham's side. I'm not sure what room Bressingham was in. Oh, but there we go. Zeb is able to make the connection. And with having access to emptying those reserve tanks does make the Dragon kill just 7 energy shy of a full tank there at the end. Unfortunately for Zeb, though, although I'm sure Canadian Al has given the warning, right on the other side of that door up top is a Fantoon fight. And Zeb 316 is kind of low on health there. Exactly 1 tank and no reserves. And while I'm still wondering where Ice Beam was hiding out, Canadian Al is showing us that Gravity Suit makes an appearance at the Gauntlet Terizo statue, so that is a huge find. That's going to finish the defensive upgrade as far as taking the least amount of damage here that we can get, but then also going to give us free movement through the water as well. Yeah, it's not just big for the movement. I'd say it's big for the damage boost there. Or damage reduction, sorry. And Zeb 316 is going ahead and get rid of some of those blue fire puffs to pick up some extra energy and some ammo as well. And with one last super missile there with Fantoon low enough, after going toe to tentacle with just a little bit of health, Zeb 316 puts on a good show, takes down Fantoon as well. So that's 3 bosses down for the Vileplumes. Get some hype in chat. That was a nice fight for Zeb, and pretty low on health to, kind of brave it and go into it. I would imagine Zeb knew that Fantoon was up there since Canadian Al has already been up there. And since our runners are able to communicate within their teams, I'm surprised that Canadian Al hasn't gone back for Ice Beam, but I don't know where it was. And then we get a little high five there from the Vileplumes. And Dark BiZalmon's grabbing Gravity Suit for Bressingham. Bison was, if you're just joining us, Bison was kind of room for room, hand in hand with the teammate of Bressingham. Took an unfortunate death, and it's kind of playing catch up here a little bit. But I will say, has been doing a very nice job to close the gap here. Bison is just a few seconds away from grabbing Various Suit. Big defensive increase there. If going from Power Suit to Various Suit is a nice boost. And there we do see Canadian Al picking up Ice Beam. So it was at X-Ray, which in route rando means nothing. Okay, so it was south down in that croc path. Gotcha. We're piecing this together a little bit here. And while Canadian Al went back to grab the Ice Beam, we see Zeb pick up Gravity Suit on the top there. So 3 out of 4 runners are fully stocked in some new threads. And we just need Bison to catch up there and grab the Gravity Suit for himself. For a slow start to this, kind of exploded there with all those back-to-back bosses, and then a handful of really nice items. And taking a quick look at our runners on the right side who managed to pick up the Ice Beam, that's a pretty nice beam combo. That's about as strong as you can hope for without a plasma beam pickup. And speaking of boss rushes, we're about to see couple of bosses in a row on Bressingham's side. Bressingham lining up to take a shot at Dragon right now. unfortunately, Bressingham getting pulled away from those. I don't even know what they're called. Let's call them. I feel like there's a name for them. Pulling away from the power supply there, but kind of teasing back and forth, see if we can get a latch on there. It is Bressingham making the connection and frying the fish. So Bressingham in for a little bit of a rude surprise here, as right atop of this room to the right is going to be a Fantoon fight immediately. So we got the 2-for-1 special on bosses today. However, armed with gravity suit, 3 E-tanks full, a reserve tank at least, something in there. Bressingham should be in good shape to take this fight quickly. I'll tell you, it is not a small task to keep track of how all these rooms connect. So get some shout and some hype for these runners who are putting on an awesome performance of kind of connecting these puzzle pieces together and putting on an entertaining run here. And it's Zeb316 right next to a nice super missile pickup in the Mickey Mouse room. And Bressingham takes down Fantoon, having no trouble, like we said. Stocked with gravity suit, couple of tanks, reserve tank, and a healthy amount of missiles. Fantoon is a thing of the past. Hey, and more super missiles for Canadian Al there. Definitely not going to be upset to pick those up. And Zeb making another appearance here through the Metroid room. I will say we found Grapple Beam relatively early on in this run, and it has come in handy. It was logically required to break the Shack Tool ceiling, the path to Shack Tool. That's how we made some progression here, but it also has come in handy since we haven't seen Space Jump. Now, granted, our runners are skilled enough to know some ways to manipulate the game without needing that, but I don't think there was a way around that Shack Tool entrance without it, so at least logically required. And Bressingham heading south here is going to be rewarded with some super missiles as well as the ice beam. Always a nice thing to find. If nothing else, just kind of beefs up the damage output. And if you find yourself in a Metroid room, it's certainly a much more pleasant way to deal with that problem. Powerbomb expansion switched out for just a missile tank here today. Yeah, I'm with you, chat. I have no idea how they're piecing this together. I'm sure it's a hair slightly easier if you're just running your own race, trying to follow 4 screens for here in the booth and everybody at home. Might get a little confusing from time to time, but still, this is a lot to process. And Canadian Al pushing the way through the trash can robots here, only to get a super missile tank. I think that puts Canadian Al at 30 supers, if I'm reading that. The number is a little glitched. We actually had the golden statue room show up, and the statue is just removed and the elevator is open. We actually came up from the bottom of it and took the elevator up to continue progressing through this route here. And unfortunately, Bressingham, sans speed booster here, is having to having to make progression across that bridge, stumbling through a few times, but able to make the jump there that last time. And Tracy M in chat, yes, I appreciate the sentiment. It is, the commentator stream can be very hard to make out some of these ammo numbers. And picking up another supers pack. So supers were not showing up for a while, but now we've got supers wild, if you will. Interesting, Zeb316 did not even take a peek at what was on that, what is normally the vanilla screw attack item. Might have been through this. No, definitely hasn't been through this way yet. So interesting, not even interested in an item there. Although there may be some rule or reason to why Zeb would skip that. What I will say, though, is Ridley, the last of our 4 bosses here, making an appearance on Canadian Owl side. Now, the bosses, and feel free to correct me in chat since I've been having fun butchering the rule set here. To the best of my knowledge, the bosses are not required unless they're progressed through the route. So that would mean Phantoon is only required if the power in the wrecked ship is something that we would need access to. But I'm not 100% sure on that, so I will let chat be the expert there. But we do see simultaneous boss fights here of Ridley and the Vileplumes both take down the space pirate leader there. Very nice. Actually, Zeb316 had a lightning fast fight. Took advantage of those supers. And now this room here that you see on Zeb and Canadian Outside is added to the route rando. It is an energy refill and a missile refill so that you don't soft lock here, spending missiles to break the Zebatites and the glass. So if that room looked unfamiliar to anyone, welcome to Route Rando. Yes, so with Mother Brain being on the other side of the Ridley fight there, which I feel like we need a little more hype in chat for Vileplume's awesome hand-in-hand takedown of Ridley, and now hand-in-hand beginning of the Mother Brain fight here. Yeah, with Mother Brain being at the end of the Ridley line there, I don't believe Dragon or Phantoon were required for this. An interesting switch in strats here. Interesting switch in strats here. Sorry, I'm also trying to read chat too. We saw Canadian Owl spending the supers beforehand, but now we've got that charged ice combo. Remember, this is a nice beam combo for all things considered. I've seen some pretty terrible Mother Brain loadouts like a charge spazer and charge wave. So charge ice spazer wave is pretty good, all things considered. And speaking of nice beam combos, Bison is completing that beam combo as well, grabbing the ice beam, and we haven't seen plasma turn up anywhere. So as far as we know, this is the most damage you're going to be putting out. Canadian Owl sees some ketchup appear and Zeb316. So our Vileplumes are hand in hand for this. Their average time is going to be possibly within just a few seconds of each other's finishing here. I see chat asking some questions here about the end of game. So once you defeat Mother Brain, it will begin an escape sequence. That escape sequence is randomized, just like the rest of the rooms have been. So it'll be a unique route specifically for this race. But both our runners, or all 4 of our runners, they're going to be trying to make it to the ship and navigate that random route as best as possible. And I think it's pretty fun to see the Vileplumes kind of neck and neck here within themselves. I mean, they're running together, so not necessarily a competition in that, but it's fun to see just a few frames apart from each other like this. And to answer a question we're seeing here in chat, I am not sure if Bressingham knows how to reverse ice clip here. There we go. Bressingham putting on a good show to make that progress. And we've got, as we've had in tandem, simultaneous hyper beam shots going on here on the Vileplume side. And that's Mother Brain down for Canadian Owl. And just a few more shots away for Zeb316. Yep, there we go. Mother Brain bursting into flames there. And we are going to get an escape sequence here on the Vileplume side, almost in tandem. And Bison is making way here through the gauntlet Terizo check and is going to pick up Gravity Suit. Like I said, despite taking that early death, Bison has done a pretty great effort to try to catch up and narrow the gap a little bit here. So it's good to see Bison fully loaded out there in line with what the rest of our runners have found. We see our runners having to find the random door that is available to use to make progress towards the escape. It's always the last one you check, isn't it? And Zeb, who actually finished the Mother Brain fight just a few seconds behind the Canadian Owl, checks the door across first before heading down through the little Alcatraz escape area and is able to take a couple of seconds lead now. And he goes through that last room pretty cleanly. Going to be getting to the ship first, followed just a hair behind by teammate Canadian Owl. So that is going to do it for the Vileplumes, whose average time is going to be unbelievably close. So get some GGs in chat for Vileplumes, both Zeb316 and Canadian Owl wrapping up this race. And we see Bressingham going toe-to-toe with Ridley, which is the room right before the beginning of the Mother Brain sequence. So Bressingham doing a good job to stay in competitive step here. Might be able to pass some information along to teammate Bison about not needing to go through the Dragon/Fantoon episode there. Help save some time on the back end. And I would imagine that we'll be getting these runners in here for a quick interview, but we'll have to see. as a reminder, if you have enjoyed any of this awesome action here tonight, please give our runners a follow. They are working super hard to put on great content, not just here, but on their channels as well. It's a great way to show some love and support. And speaking of awesome runners, we are joined by Canadian Al and Zeb316. GG's.
Thank you.
Yeah, GG's. Thanks.
So, yeah, walk us through a little bit of that. How was piecing it together?
I think this was one of them.
It didn't help that I started late.
Yeah. Canadian Owl, I think he said he pressed the wrong button at the beginning and had took him a little bit longer than the rest of us to get started. But, yeah, that was like, I think, a very linear seed. Like, not a whole lot of like branches that you could take too far. Not a lot of hubs, to be honest, after the first couple. So we just kind of went through the seed as it was. The only thing that we did really wrong was fought Dragon and Fantoon, because those weren't required. But
we didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and excuse me just one second. We do have the forfeit there from the Dark BiZalmon's, but we'd like to welcome in the chat Bressingham and Bison as well. GG's to both of you.
GG.
Yeah, GG,
yeah, GG's. You guys had a really blazing time. I heard you say that you guys fought Dre and Fantoon. I don't know how you would have been able to avoid that, but since Bison died and was behind, I told him you skip those and hopefully Fantoon's not required.
Ah, yeah.
Interesting.
It would have paid off.
Yeah. Man, you guys really got a good time though. Go ahead.
I think between the two of us, we only took one death. I took a death when I went to the place where Precious Room was without gravity. On my way back, I half decided and half the Metroids killed me.
Yeah.
So like, I had saved at landing site after finding landing site before that, so it wasn't too bad. But, yeah, it's hard to like describe your route in these because they're so like weird.
I don't know how you guys take notes, but with Bison and I, we've been sort of just making like a visual on our own and like communicating it. But I just have like a bunch of areas and arrows going everywhere.
We had something similar with the Google Doc, but sometime we just decided to not do it.
Yeah.
It became a little bit like we were both kind of just playing for too much. There weren't any like breaks, so we were all like, screw it. Like, we'll just say where we need to go.
You notice me pausing sometimes, and that was just me taking notes.
Yeah, same. I did that too. Like anytime I found the room with like 20 different exits, like Green Bryn, Shafts, you just have to stop and write that down.
GG's.
Yeah, GG's, Bison.
Yeah, let my team down a bit. I died and had 10 or 15 minutes backtracking, I guess. Yeah. This was a very rough seed to die on. I died right before we entered the big green room.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I died right at the end of the linear part. And that was like literally the worst place to die in the whole seed.
Yeah, that's rough.
Because after that, you're just wandering around all the different branches, and you can make time up pretty quickly by just picking up what you need. But in the linear backtracking path, you really have no option but to do it again.
Yeah, that early game was, I think we were commentating a bit here. It was kind of like backtracking the game. You had to go back, you had to grab, you had to find out that you needed the wave beam, then you go back, you had the wave beam. Then you found out you needed the grapple beam power bomb, you go back through that. And then it kind of, because we saw runners make appearances, I'm not sure who it was in what order, but, found the Shack tool room and then left. And then eventually everybody came back to that and, used the grapple beam to progress. So that early game was definitely rough.
Yeah, we were thinking that I didn't check the item in Indiana Jones, and weren't sure. It looked like you need gravity to progress past that Choctaw room, but in actuality, it's probably grapple and high jump. I'm guessing.
I think it's
Yeah,
just
grapple, high jump.
I don't think
I'm not
you
sure
need
if
high
you-
jump
Is high jump not required for that one?
because there's an extra grapple block if you don't have high jump.
Okay.
Yeah, there's steps there. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Well, I will say, Bison, you had a nice effort to work hard to come back there, and it would have been nice to be able to skip. I think Bressingham noted this, to be able to skip Fantoon and Dragon, which we saw all the other runners go through.
Yeah, we had to skip. So I didn't go there, I didn't see, but Bress told me that you get to fight Dragon and then immediately Fantoon, who can be required at the end of the seed, and most likely is. In my,
Most of the seeds that I've
experience,
done. Yeah, most of the seeds I've done have had Fantoon required when he's been in the seed.
Yeah, we had to make that gamble, but yeah, still wasn't enough.
Well, Zeb, I will say,
Would have been pretty cool to actually. It would be like only the second seed I've encountered where Fantoon wasn't required would be cool.
What were you saying?
yeah, it was kind of a boss rush there. You found Kraid, and then a couple of rooms later was the Dragon Fantoon. I will say you wrapped up the Dragon fight, and you were on like a tank and a half or a little less than that, no reserves, and I was surprised because I would imagine Canadian told you that Fantoon was upstairs, and I was holding my breath when you went in there for the fight. I mean, excellent job to clear it out, but I was a little nervous.
That's still more health than I would normally have in a 90% run. So, and I had Barrier, which is the same as I would have in 90%. So, it wasn't that dangerous, I don't think. But
well, here I am trying to talk you up and celebrate all that hard work, but that's fine. No, it was definitely exciting to watch on all accounts. And I will say it is hard to follow 4 different runners, kind of finding random rooms that you've no idea how they connect and piecing all together. So it was definitely entertaining and exciting.
yeah,
Thank you very much for doing it.
Trying to follow all of that.
Well, does anybody have any questions or any other comments they'd like to throw? I mean, I have to say, just excellent performance from all 4 of you. Sorry, Bison, about the death, but like I said, hard fought to try to come back there.
How close did you get to the end, Bison? There.
I don't know because I did not see the end. I don't.
Yes.
I think I caught up quite a bit. So of the maybe 12 to 30, I think about 10 to 12 minutes I lost on the death. I made up a few minutes just knowing where to go, and the Dragon and Fantoon skip must have been like about 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So I made up almost all the time, but Bress didn't have me to help him in like the Green Burn area. It was really just a bit of an unlucky place for death at the end of all that linear there and back stuff. If the death happened after a major hub, like after a hub room, then that's not really a big deal.
So then, Bress, what way did you go first in that Green Brinstar area? Or like, which branch did you take first? Did you go down the...
I went up
path that
first.
Okay, you went up first.
Yeah, so I found gravity and ice, and then I found the way to go. So I got pretty lucky with all the branching paths, finding where to go pretty quickly.
I went all the way down the green shaft first, and
I don't even know what's down there.
That was the baby room.
Yep. And
luckily, I was already low on health, which was helped by a hit from a crab that got me down to like 8 energy.
I was lucky when I went through. I went through the door that leads to the Metroid rooms and the Mickey Mouse room and whatnot. Leads to Precious eventually. I was pretty lucky not to die in the Mickey Mouse room because I forgot to kill the enemies, like the balls, to make sure the door would open. So I had to kill the big Deskigas. And I got down to like 20 energy. And then I had to kill the Metroids with power bombs and just avoid them. So I was pretty lucky to get through that and be able to see the Precious was there, so I didn't have to go back again until after I found Gravity.
Yeah, I forget who it was who was just talking about the baby Metroid room, but to find landing site right after the baby Metroid.
Yes, that was a relief.
Yeah, I've seen landing site right after that a lot of the time, actually. I'm not sure if it like intentionally does that or if it's just like randomly pretty common. Like sometimes it's not, but
uncharacteristically kind of randomizers. That's not something I'm used to saying. Is the rando was kind here. No, but for all the talk about everything else, Bressingham, your efforts to push through your routing was pretty nice to be able to connect. I mean, you went into some of those boss fights, fully suited up, and so it was nice finds.
Thanks.
Yeah, I also got a little bit lucky at the end. I wasn't paying attention to my ammo, and I had exactly enough ammo to kill MB1. I think I actually would have been soft locked now that I'm thinking about it, because I did.
Did you zap skip?
Yep.
Yeah, so that would have been brutal.
That would have been really bad.
I've ended so many vanilla runs that way, and rhino runs actually.
One or two missile difference, and we could be having a conversation here. So that's crazy. It goes to show you how tough and how the seconds really matter in those decision making. Sometimes making a decision to save seconds is, backfires. So happy we didn't have to deal with that, but certainly impressive runs all around. Anybody have any other questions or comments?
Thanks for the restream.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much for the show.
Well, thank you all for putting on an awesome display here, and I will encourage everybody who's hanging around in chat. There's another one of these just 20 minutes in, starting on Speed Gaming 3. So that race started at 4 o'clock, and if you, like I said, if you enjoyed what you saw here, go ahead and jump over there because the Metroid Randomizer action continues. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here. I am 329th in line. Huge thank you to our tracker, WinFox470. Got that link up there as well as a link to all the runners today. So please do show some support, show some love, and give a follow to everybody involved here because they're all providing awesome content, not just here where we get to enjoy it, but on their own channels as well. So thank you to everybody. And go ahead and check out that 4 o'clock start over there on Speed Gaming 3. I am 329th in line, and it's been a blast. Have a great night, everyone. Take care.